mics for. Hello, everyone,
We're
and
live.
we're
I
live.
hope so.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first webinar. I'm Monica Carlson, Marketing Director for Mr. Me Master brand, and I'm here today with Mr. Me Master himself, Rafael Hernandez.
Well,
How are you?
AKA Mr. Meat Master Rafael Hernandez. Very excited actually. Doing a lot of stuff, so taking
Yes.
a little time to speak to some of the crowds just to see what's going on with our campaigns, with our office, with our company. It's a lot going on.
Yes, and I'm sure our friends and followers are very excited to send their questions in. It's the very first time that you are actually having a
Yeah.
live question and answer section. So we're excited to get some answers for you guys. Make sure you type in whatever questions you have. And I actually want to start with one question that we always get through our social media channels, YouTube, Instagram. And that question is, how did you become Mr. Meat Master? How did that name come up?
That's actually pretty funny because we started in 2019. So my daughter Ceci, she's a creator for the company, and she came in saying, "Dad, we have to do marketing. Keep in mind we're a wholesale company. The only thing I knew about marketing was a Pepsi commercial. So I said, look, that's not for us. Long story short, we decided that okay, we're gonna build an influencer. We looked for a name, and the name came out, Mr. Meatmaster. So we started doing a couple little things. How do we get our product down to our customers? And looks like the millennial world. Nobody wants to read about it. They want to see it. They want to hear it. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, and I guess the name stayed because
Yeah.
of your knowledge and
Well, I've been doing this for about almost 30 years now, and I've been in the food and beef industry. Straight out of college, I went to Palm Beach Community College here in Florida. I attended FAU. I did not finish college, unfortunately, so don't look it up. I didn't finish it. But guys, it took me straight to a uh, training school, and I went to work for a small little wholesale broker company that sold food. And this was back in 1997, 98, and here we are. You know?
yes, that's very exciting. And that's actually another question that we get a lot. And because you mentioned that you started working for a brokerage company,
Yeah.
and how did you actually decide to create your own company, your own business, and what does the brand Mr. Meat Master represent to you?
Okay. Well, it's actually the company, and I'll give him a little shout out. I'm not even sure they're still there anymore. I think he retired, Stephen Hockman. The name of the company was called Future Foods of Boca Raton. And look, I moved from one state to another. I've been always the go getter. I always wanted to educate myself. I always wanted to learn more. So when I started selling product, I said, where does it come from? So I wanted to go out there. I started going to the farmers, the ranchers. Well, that was separately. I started going to the packing houses where the product came out of. And that's how it just developed. And then back in 2012, I said, you know what? I can do it better. And I just started opening up a company. And it took some time. But here we are now.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
That's a nice journey that you had. And what would you say that are the differences between the Mr. Meat Master products? Like, what sets your products apart from? Because there are so many beef companies out there now, and
Yeah.
everything is being done. So, what sets you apart? Like, why people should get to know the
Yeah.
product and understand the difference?
Well, I think that once we started, I guess I got to give shout outs to our partners and alliance as Creekstone Farms. We started working with them back in 2000. I knew them since 2008. And then when I opened up my own company, I decided I wanted to follow their rhythm. Everywhere I went, they were like the Lamborghini of meats. People knew, oh, Creekstone Farms, yeah, that's too expensive for us. We can't do that. So there was something there. And then I started getting more into it. Um, and then it was a personal side of it because I developed thyroid at the age of 34. I was gaining too much weight. I was going to doctors back and forth, and somehow the influence of the meat was always frowned upon and said, don't eat that, don't eat this. And I just wanted to educate myself. And I started making some changes, looking into it. You know, where do we buy the beef from? Where does it come from? So it just started getting bigger and bigger, and it became my following. It became my passion. And I wanted to go out there. I saw these farmers working and establishing themselves, fighting against their status quo because you got these big companies. They're doing so much business and they're leaving the small farmers aside. They're not making any money. They're struggling. This was back in 2008-9, and now it's changing. We see that 5% of the ranchers, farmers that are struggling and pushing towards natural, self-sustained ranches, it's becoming bigger and bigger now. So I saw this coming, and
Yeah. And it's great to see that people are actually learning about
Yeah.
being healthier and making smart choices when it comes to food and understanding where the food comes from. That makes a big difference on the health and
Yeah,
your
totally.
well-being and all of that. It's another discussion that we can have another
it
day
is. It is.
about.
There's a lot to go in there from.
Yeah, and it's not only about being healthy, but there's also the sustainable part, correct?
Correct. Well, environmental friendly. That is another discussion. I have two millennials in my house. Actually, they work for the company, as you know.
Yes.
So they were always worried about making, making a better future and doing something, giving back. To me, I grew up in migrant fields, migrant workers picking cucumbers and tomatoes. So, giving back was never a thing for me because I had to make it back in the day.
Yeah.
But now that we're coming into this, I said, how do we make those changes? And we wanted to establish something different, something that, something ethical to me. It was very important, the ethics about giving back and going back to those farmers and giving back to them. So I became the voice of those farmers, ranchers, packers. And it started in 2018. It's become bigger and bigger now. Well, now we had the chance to say, hold on, guys, let's establish something. And this is now we're making some changes in the company for that.
And that's a beautiful mission. It helps out people
Yeah.
being healthier, and also the farmers who are doing the right thing, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's not an easy approach, especially when you're fighting against the big conglomerates. But people are watching.
Yeah.
People are listening, and we no longer have to just show them, read to them, or put it somewhere. We have to show them.
Yeah.
So this is why the cameras and documentaries and then now look, we're having to a podcast, a webinar. This is something new to me. So I'm 50, so it's not a.
You look younger than that.
Oh, thank you. It's the good meat I eat.
For sure. So you were mentioning your humble beginnings, picking up cucumbers and tomatoes, and now you're a very successful businessman. We just had a question from the audience. Somebody is asking, do you have any advice for me? I'm thinking about starting my own business. What would you say to them?
That's a tough one. I keep in mind that I came from a migrant worker family, and my parents are from Mexico. So they came down here picking cucumbers and tomatoes, and there was no option but to succeed for me. So, but anybody out there trying to start a new business, guys, it's just passion. Remember, guys, there's no B plan. I know you keep hearing that from everywhere outside, but you have to be prepared for every obstacle out there, including your own. I have now 27 people that work for us. So it's no longer about me now. Now it's about making sure that I do the right approach, and responsibility comes with that. So are you going to be that guy, that girl, that person that's going to say, I'm not important, the rest of the people are, and I'm not important, the rest of the cattle ranchers, farmers are? That's
So
the only way.
it's a little bit about giving and sacrificing and making
Passion.
sure, you have to be driven, right?
A lot of people keep saying that, you fall and you get up again. There's a lot of falls, a lot of falls. But at the end of the day, you smile and you say, wow, look what we have accomplished. It's been 9 days for me, actually, because I've been doing this for all my life, 28 years, probably 29 years of the beef industry. So someone tells me, Rafael, how'd you get here? I said, I don't know. I'm just here now.
You just keep going.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we also have another question more on a personal level. And somebody asked, when you're not eating beef, what's your favorite cuisine?
Ooh. You know what? I gotta. Sushi is my thing. I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
Sushi. So if I'm not eating beef or a nice steak, sushi.
So those are the top two choices
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, that's
Steak
it.
or sushi.
Steak or sushi. Yeah.
That's great. Can you share with us a personal story or experience that has taught you an important lesson about overcoming obstacles?
Wow. Yes, I guess I would say I have one of those approaches. I think this is personal with my daughters, and I tell them it's a long story, but I'm going to make it very small because it's one of those stories that changed who I am today. It was the day my mom and my dad had a gather up 10, 15 cents from the table, the ground, looking for pennies to take my sisters and me to buy a Happy Meal because it was her birthday. We had no money at all. And I'm watching them as they're picking up pennies and all this stuff around. We went down to McDonald's and they sat down outside. We were on the little, McDonald's playground in the back there, eating a hamburger. My sisters are there and they're out there. They didn't have enough money for them. So I would think I was like 9 or 11, and I looked at them, and I knew what was happening immediately. I said, "This is not going to ever happen again." So that's changed the course of my life, and of course now I take care of my parents. But yeah, that's a story for me.
That's something
yeah.
that stuck with you
It did.
and helped build that
Yeah,
passion
it did.
and make you like
Yeah.
driven.
Well, then I think we discussed this on my 34th birthday, having some issues, healthy issues. I don't know what it was, and after back and forth, and to the point of doctors telling me that maybe it was depression. I said, well, I've never been depressed in my life. What is that? So we came down that I had thyroid. So that was one of the reasons I started changing a lot of stuff that I was doing. And I guess we just discussed that too, that we get to the table, we eat, we sit down and we see all these plates, and everything is great, but at the end of the day, what is not processed?
It's really hard to tell.
That was very tough for me because I come from a background where processed food, we couldn't afford a can. So we had to, my mom had to do everything from scratch. So if you go to my pantry, believe it or not, it is rare to see a can of anything because we weren't used to that. But nowadays, the new millennials, my daughters, you go to their closet and the pantry's full of cans and full of something processed that's been sitting there. So that's one of the things I want to teach and educate a lot of the people that, keep in mind that sitting down to the dinner table, having a great dinner, what is not processed? Think about that on that table.
Yeah.
What didn't go through a whole 6, 7 month, 10 month of processing to get to your table?
And so many ingredients on each product, right? If you look at the labels, like the list goes on and on and on.
It is. It is. I mean, nobody is batching anything, but I'm telling you, the only thing I could vouch for is a product I do. Mm-hmm. The product that my farmers, ranchers, processors bring about. And, right now we have chefs, hotels. We can't name them all because, look, but they're noticing the difference. Hence the sports. We're doing the same thing. So it's becoming a thing.
And actually talking about sports, that's another question that we have popping up right now. A lot of people want to know, how did you get involved with the NFL, with the sports teams, and how did that all happen? What's going on right now?
I don't know how that happened either. I'll be honest with you. We were approached by the Dolphins a couple of years ago. They wanted to talk about doing something in the VIP section for the tailgating. They built this Formula One place, and they were going to build these garages. And what do they do with them? Because it's going to be a stable project. It's going to be there for 10 years. So they said, hey, we want to do something. They reached out to me. I think they looked at my social media. We had a good conversation, and we landed that, you know what, we want you to service the VIP tailgate garages.
So it all started with Formula One. You were supplying
That's exactly what happened.
the protein for the F1 drivers and teams and fans.
And they said, well, okay, great, Rafael, you're going to service these 27 garages, and we're going to put chefs, we're going to put grill stations. It's a VIP tailgating area with our products. How do we put it there? And I said, oh, that's another question. So hence the butcher shop. So we have the first butcher shop in NFL history.
And that was a very innovative project because,
it was,
like you said, it was the very first
work.
one. A lot of work, but it was also like a very nice experience for all the Miami Dolphins fans to be able to go to the stadium and buy a great quality product.
It became a
Mr.
big thing,
Master.
actually.
Yeah.
And now it became a big thing. And then the Miami Sharks from rugby team approached us and said, hey, we're building a rugby team in South Florida, and we have players coming in from around the world, living in these places, and we like to keep it as natural as we can, and we heard about you. How do we feed the players? Can you help us? And look, long story short, we're feeding the players, and we're also taking care of the whole concession stands in the Sharks Center there. So
Mr. McMaster is keeping not only the players, but also the fans
great.
Very satisfied with
Very.
the product. That's great. Do we have anything else lined up as far as sports teams? Are there any other teams coming on board? Like, do you have anything else going on right now?
Well, we just signed with the University of Miami. We're very excited about that. So, we had Cam, the new quarterback out there for the team. Go Canes. and the U. So we're in love with that. But yes, we have something special coming up. It's been a lot of time in the work, structural wise, logistical wise, getting everything ready. And it's an NFL team. And we're going to bring that out later once we get everything done, coordinated. But it's going to be a big surprise. It's probably one of the biggest teams in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's something.
So
Guys, stay tuned for
yeah.
the next big reveal from Mr. Meatmaster regarding the sports team.
We'll let you guys know how it turns out. Yeah.
And then, are there any other sports that we are looking to team up with besides football and rugby, of course?
And rugby, of course. Well, look, we've been approached. We could say this because we're in the middle of communications, and we've been in talks with the Panthers hockey team. So, the same thing, Rafael. You're leaning towards the natural stuff. How do we work something out? Because it's the proteins for the athletes or the beef for the athletes. And we're in talks and communication. We'll let you know how that lands and how that works, but we have a lot on our plate right now. So
it all happened organically.
Yeah.
And little by little, Mr. Meatmaster became the beef that athletes eat, right?
I love that. So I got to give that to the marketing team. They came up with that, and the beef that athletes eat, and it's becoming a thing now.
And it's great to know that all these institutions like these professional sports teams, they are trusting our product as the source of protein for their athletes and the fans and
we also have a couple UFC fighters. We can't give out the names yet coming on board as ambassadors, and maybe putting something into the company. We'll let you guys know later.
Yes,
but
we also have another big announcement for today, so stay tuned to the end to learn about this new opportunity coming up. If now going back to a personal question, if you could have dinner with any historical figure or celebrity, who would that be and why?
Well, historical figure
or celebrity.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me because I don't know many of them, and I like to read about them, but I don't know if I would have dinner with them. Except Abraham Lincoln, I guess that's one of the guys that. But I have a celebrity crush. I don't have very many celebrity crushes because I'm too busy working and
no time to follow up.
And and I've been around a lot of people, so it's great. But there's a guy, Elon Musk. I just would love to know, how he does it. It's crazy. I see myself in his eyes, and I see myself. Everything he says something, I kind of admire. That sitting in your office when no one's there, and you're almost failing, and you go out to the next step. And I've had those moments before in the past 12 years that trials and tribulations.
So
I hear people like that. I get inspired by him, especially a guy that was almost about to do nothing and has everything. Mm-hmm. It's not about the money. It's about where you're going and who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about adversities, what advice would you give to people who are going through some tough times right now? What would you tell them?
Well, guys, there's no way. Look, the only thing I could teach you is that giving us not an option. It's never come through my mind. At the end of the day, we've had some trials and tribulations with the brand on the personal side, and the only thing to do is go forward. So we have to maintain the rhythm, change your surroundings, because remember, at the end of the day, my mom used to tell me, and it's true. Now I see it as I get older that who surrounds you is who eventually you will be. Mm-hmm. So I try to surround myself with positive people. Not specifically out, somebody with a lot of money out there, but people that motivate me, people that want to educate themselves as well as I do. So just keep in mind, keep going, guys. It's coming. It's always coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of money to be made in the beef industry? People want to know.
There's a lot of money to be made and lost in any industry. Again, it goes again to the same thing. It's passion. It's never about the money, but it's about the goal. Mm-hmm. And the goal just brings money.
So it's about being determined and
That's
focused.
That's it. So I get that question a lot, especially from family. Hey, what do you do? I said nothing different. I do the same thing every morning. I get up and I make sure that I am ready for the next day. Mm-hmm. He says, well, you're never negative. It's not that I'm not negative. I mean, how do you get lost in that? Mm-hmm. Today was a bad day. Tomorrow's a better one.
So you always have to have a good mindset
Yeah.
and keep
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. The bank wants to hear that too. So.
And we also got a question. What made you start a docu-series, and when can we expect a new episode? So if you haven't seen yet, we have a YouTube channel, Mr. Me Master. Make sure to go in there, watch all the videos. It's very educational, and you can learn a lot about Rafael, the story, about the product, the company. So what made you start that, and when can we see new episodes coming up?
Actually, no intentions of starting that. There was no intentions of starting it. Again, my daughter came down to the company, and we decided, okay, how do we get the approach? And back in 2018, 19, the approach was film something, do something. So taking the product to my customers, we decided, okay, let's start filming a little episodes in our kitchen, talking about the product and how good it is and why is it better for you. And then our processor, our plant saw that and said, hey, you want to come down to the plant? I said, I'd love to. So, and then one thing came to the other. And then, look, we could say this too, because it's been a while now, about 3 years. We were approached by Netflix in 2020. And they wanted to do something because they were kind of shut down. And one of the producers called us and said, hey, you want to do something? You're out there filming anyway, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. I said, look, we had plans. So we filmed something specifically not for them, but in the middle of that, filming this docu-series to make sure that we told our customers who we are, what we're doing, and why we're better, and why our partners are making all this extra work. We wanted to put a visual and a voice to all these people that are doing amazing work. And Netflix got interested. But then we hear from a producer, and they had a whole list of things, and one of them was, we own the brand. We will be able to edit everything. And I said, that's not going to happen.
Because that goes against what you want, which is exactly show everything, right? Be open to the public.
That's the
and
thing.
Show how
We
things are done.
we didn't want someone to determine what is good and what is bad. So we wanted to make sure that we were open with the public.
So
you know,
you want to keep transparency throughout.
that's exactly what it is.
So we're not on Netflix, but make sure to go to YouTube and
Yeah.
watch all the episodes. And when are we seeing new episodes coming?
Well,
What's next?
Well, we've been so very busy with the sports, and now our e-commerce coming up. Which is it's thriving and getting bigger. We're going to a bigger place now because it's getting bigger. So we're happy about that. And we've been approached this last year from Uruguay, Argentina, Japan. We have a couple new suppliers coming in that are also doing the natural, self-sustain, traceability, and they want to be part of it. This is growing. That 90% of the cattle producers that are doing something through labs are now becoming that 10% are fighting, and that 10% is growing. So eventually, I keep saying this, and we're creating traceability and sustainability by accountability. Mm-hmm. So we're out there. So we'll be filming, I think starting, we put some dates already, October through the end of February next year. In Japan, Uruguay, Argentina, Mexico, going back to the ranches. So we have a whole new docuseries coming up and partners coming up. So
very nice. So make sure to stay tuned in on YouTube and follow Rafael's newest adventures around the world.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
And you just mentioned now the e-commerce.
Yeah.
We have an e-commerce platform. We just got a question. Someone is asking, where can I get your product? I love a good tomahawk. So we must say that we have the Mr. Me Master Tomahawk, which is not just any tomahawk.
That's also another thing coming up. You'll see a couple little more videos. We are doing a tomahawk challenge. We already have a couple of people coming in. But look, going back to the question, MrMeatMaster.net. High-end restaurant, 5-star hotels were the ones that carrying all of our products, and from our supplier as well. So now, as we started portioning for the NFL and for some of the teams out there, we wanted to bring it out to the people. So now we're going to be at home, and you're going to be able to save some money.
Yeah.
And make sure that we are traceable, accountable, self-sustainable, and we're making that move as we go. Everybody's joining to the team, and we are making huge steps.
That's great. So if you want to have that amazing dining experience at home, you can just go to MrMeatMaster.net and make sure to select a bundle box or your favorite cuts, and we're going to have them delivered to you.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Great.
little surprises on the beginning too. We're also, I guess we could talk a little about a campaign we're doing as well.
Yes, so I guess we are, as we reach the end of our webinar, we are
Coming down to
doing
that.
a big announcement today, and what it is that you have to share today, Rafael.
Well, we're doing a big approach since the whole sports section came about, and by pretty much for our financial advisors and our CFO, they said, Rafael, why don't we do a crowdfunding? So that's on the works. It's been on the works for the past 3-4 months with a big company. I'm not even sure we can say the company yet or not, but
We're not giving out any details
Okay.
today, but you
All
can
right.
say what it is
well,
about.
we're coming into the new e-commerce, new distribution, and we're gonna start building this new crowdfunding and platform for all of our e-commerce and distribution centers. So same thing for the marketing side, same thing for the ranchers, so we have a lot driving on this, and educational stuff also we're doing. We're gonna be attending some colleges, talking to some of the environmentalists, talking to some of the ranchers out there. We want to make sure we educate the crowd. And it looks like our crowdfunding is going to take effect. We'll let you guys know a little more details later on that. So it's going to be a big thing.
All right, so soon you're going to be able to own a piece of Mr. Meat Master. So stay tuned for the next webinar. And then we're going to share some more details about the crowdfunding campaign and how can you invest and be part of this big mission. Anything else that you want to add today?
No, very excited. I guess thank all the followers. It looks like they're influencing slowly. It's getting bigger and bigger. We like it. And remember, guys, it's educational. It's about a better tomorrow, a better today, and got a lot to learn, myself included.
All right, so thank you, Rafael. Thank you all the followers and friends and family who are watching us, and stay tuned for the next webinar.
Take care, guys.
Bye.